Hey everybody, thanks for joining us again on CodeChat. I'm Jeremy. I'm joined again by Matt Podwysocki, and last time we talked about RxJS. That was exciting. If you didn't catch it, go back and look for it. But this time we're going to be talking about Thali, and I don't do this often, but it's fun sometimes. I know nothing about the subject of today's CodeChat. I know how to pronounce the name. It's pronounced Thali. It has something to do with the mobile devices, but just bring us in. What's going on with this?
All right. So Thali is an interesting word. It comes from India and Nepal, and it's basically it's a plate, especially a plate that serves multiple kinds of dishes, whether it's sweets, sour, astringent, spicy, etc. And what we like to think of it is kind of a platform for building things. In so much so, what we're actually trying to do here is create the mobile web, the peer web directly on your devices, and so it serves any number of purposes. Obviously, for areas when you have absolutely no internet connection at all, you can still talk to your friends. I know I've been to many conferences where the Wi-Fi is absolutely saturated.
It's terrible, yeah.
And the Wi-Fi is saturated. I can't get any signal. And oh yeah, I'm in a foreign country, so I really don't want to use my data plan either.
Right.
How do I communicate with my friends? Well, the good news is, you already have one of these radios that happens to be in your pocket. It happens to be a phone. And these phones that we have nowadays are pretty powerful. And these phones are really powerful in the fact that maybe, a server that you would have bought, say, 10 years ago is just as powerful as the phones that you can buy off the shelf today.
Yeah, right.
They've got the same storage.
Sometimes for 30 or 50 bucks.
Yeah, they've got the same storage. But not only that, but they have these communication mechanisms built into it with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and so forth. So really, we wanted to explore this area of what we would call the peer web, the idea that we can start to share information with one another without having the internet present. And that's good for a number of reasons. It's good for sharing things with your friends. I'm at a concert, I have no way of finding you. We're somewhere in close proximity, and I want to know where you are. Those kinds of things.
What about you're on a road trip with your family and you're in the middle of Kansas or something?
Yeah, you're in the middle of Kansas. You've got nothing. I want to share a picture. I want to share a video. I want to share all of those sorts of things, and I've got no connectivity at all. How do you do that? And it also comes down to if I'm in a foreign country, either I don't have a data plan or just the information networks of the internet and cell phones just aren't available to people. Should they have the same access to information, the same access to communication that everybody else has? And I would like to say, of course they do. And so how do you provide something like that? Well, you provide that through turning their phone into a server. So to just briefly show you exactly what I mean by that, we have an app called the Postcard app. And the Postcard app is just the basic idea where we can just start to send messages back and forth. So Jeremy has this fine Nexus 9 tablet, and I have this Nexus 6 phone. So I can go ahead and say, and type from here, I can say, hello, Jeremy, and I can enter in my, that, and suddenly it shows up on his device right there.
Now, is that a trick?
No, it wasn't a trick at all.
We're not connected to Wi-Fi right now. I can confirm you are not connected.
I am not on a Wi-Fi, and nor do any of these devices have SIM cards in them.
Okay.
So there is no possible way that they could have done anything, no parlor tricks or anything like that. He couldn't have known that I was going to say hello, Jeremy, ahead of time. And just as well, he can send me a message as well. And sure enough, he did. So how do we do this? I mean, how do we kind of build these kind of apps? And since we took the angle of being that we really want to work on phones and make them a server, well, we just decided that, okay, we've got a number of things such as we're like, what kind of language and what kind of things should we use? Well, we decided, hey, Node is a wonderful thing. It runs everywhere-ish. Either good or not so good, but it runs. And so what we want to do is we want to be able to write it in JavaScript so that other people who come along later can also write their apps in JavaScript and deploy them directly to their devices. I mean, every device, whether it's a phone, whether it's your desktop, and so forth. Obviously, right now we've got the easy story of mobile here. But Node itself is kind of tied directly to V8 and tied directly to Mac, Linux, Windows, and so forth. So we wanted to find a way to kind of break out and be able to put it on just about any device. And so we partnered with Nubisa, and Nubisa has a product called JX Core, where they can swap out the runtime engine, so it can work on iOS and Android. And so much so that today, thanks to Nubisa, you can write these kinds of apps today directly and ship them directly on the Google Play and iTunes today. Writing all in Node, using all the Node modules you know and love. And that's really cool to us. So we were like, okay, so now that we've got this basis in Node, we want to have an idea of how we store and replicate data. Well, to do that, we were very much enamored with the idea of CouchDB. So CouchDB is a technology built on Erlang, where it's very much, replication is very much at its core. So it has a number of things where we can do live replications between devices and so forth. So that was an idea, is having the replication happening between these two devices very easily using Node and then using this CouchDB. So we're like, well, CouchDB itself doesn't run, but Pouch, a local version, absolutely does. So PouchDB can go over WebSockets, it can go over HTTP, it can go over whatever we want it to in terms of how it replicates from one device to another.
It can do replication over WebSockets, is that?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. So it can do replication pretty much over any transport mechanism. But for these particular devices here, well, that's not all that great because these aren't really WebSockets. These are radios. So what we had to do is we had to write some low-level stuff where we could communicate directly with the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth infrastructure built into the phones so that we can open a channel to the next phone and then multiplex the data so we can take multiple streams, shove it into one, and then on the other side, unbox them or demultiplex it on the other side and rehydrate. And as you saw, it was really, really fast in order for me to send that message to you.
What about the discovery? Was there a point in time that you had to tell this device, allow this other device to communicate directly with me?
Yep, absolutely. That is also one of the key points. Is discovery is huge here, and so each platform that we've worked with does discovery slightly differently. For example, here on Android, what we use right now is we use Wi-Fi Direct, and we basically advertise a string and says, hey, by the way, do you speak this? Do you speak this kind of application? And oh, by the way, here's my radio ID if you want to start talking to me. The other device picks it up and goes, aha, okay, now I can start talking to you.
Does it always use Wi-Fi or can it use Bluetooth as well?
We're investigating on whether we can use Bluetooth Low Energy basically to do.
That'd be wonderful.
To do the same thing. In terms of iOS, we actually use Bluetooth for discovery purposes, and we use the Wi-Fi connectivity framework to send data back and forth between them. So each of those platforms do it slightly differently, but the idea is still the same, is that your devices can replicate to each other. They can send any number of pieces of data, whether it's video, chats, pictures, and so forth. And really kind of try and change the way we think about our cell phones and the pure web itself, and the fact that we can create all of this content that we're sharing back and forth, and no third party owns it.
Sure.
No Facebooks, Twitters, and so forth
Yeah.
owns it. We own it, and we can share it back and forth with one another.
Now, what about the concept of one person having, for whatever reason, having a connection to the cloud, and then everybody else sharing that connection via a network like this?
Absolutely. Yep. That is also very much a use case in the fact that, say for example, we're on a factory floor, for example, where Wi-Fi connectivity is poor. We could be, I could be sitting there doing some diagnostics on a machine and realize, oh, there's something wrong. I'll send it to you, and then you happen to be connected to the clouds. Well, that's great, because now we can write a part of our application that actually syncs all of the data, the local data, then directly with the cloud. But it's the idea is that I communicated with you when I had no internet at all.
A mesh network.
Yes.
Wonderful. So now, would I be right in assuming that Thali then is a framework that basically makes it easier for me to create an application like this?
Absolutely. It's basically a number of these kinds of things. Kind of the idea right now, it's a Cordova plugin because we felt it was very easy for deployment purposes, but it's not necessarily tied to Cordova at all. What it is exactly that, is this framework where you can start to build your own apps that synchronize with one another. You can either use the PouchDB replication that we kind of give you, or you can just write directly to the raw socket if you absolutely feel like it.
Gotcha.
Between these two machines. And we're adding in, extra security, such as, for TLS between devices, make sure that nobody can intercept what you're doing. In that, well, it makes it more secure, anyways. And things like access control lists, so it only synchronizes with certain people, and that's further on down the line than from where we are today. But what's great is the fact that we've worked with, for example, Rockwell Automation, which is a huge partner of Microsoft, to come up with Project Stanton, which is kind of their next generation of mobility. So the idea that people are no longer tied to their laptops or what have you, they can use their phone to be able to go onto the factory floor, to be able to capture imagery, capture any number of things directly, and then synchronize with one another, and basically build their entire mobility strategy directly around this whole idea of your phone, your device is really how you get your work done.
Yeah. I know I have an idea for an app where I had to say at the beginning, okay, in order for this to work, we're going to have to assume that you have your location, and we're also going to have to assume that you have internet connectivity. And what that did was it narrowed down the available cases where a person would be willing to download this app and use it, because it just wouldn't work everywhere. But I feel like as these systems get smarter, and as we get smarter, and as we iterate, and maybe as the software and hardware platforms kind of commoditize and level out a little bit, I've always wondered when peer networking would become more of a thing, and it sounds like it is.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and it has a number of social ramifications too, because as you have your cell phone out on a daily basis, it's emitting what? It's emitting your phone number, your equipment ID, your subscriber number, your Bluetooth MAC address, your Wi-Fi MAC address. All of those sorts of things are identifiable to you. But if you start to deal with with peer networking, well, then does that open up a whole nother can of worms in terms of making people more identifiable than they already were? So there's a lot of security considerations that you have to make, privacy considerations that you have to make, and so forth. Because as we start to get into the peer web, you have to worry about online harassers and so forth. Can they continue to harass you, and there's no way for you to shut them out? Well, you have to think about those kinds of things.
But it seems to me that it just adds an option, and possibly it adds an option that allows us to be more secure, where I don't have to go up to the public internet. But again, if I'm on a family trip,
Yep.
and there are scenarios where the family's going to play a game in the car
Yep.
on a road trip, except for Dad, he's driving.
Yes.
Then we don't have to talk to the public cloud. We can just talk to each other because it makes sense.
Correct. That's correct. And what's nice is the fact that you can ship those apps directly into the app stores and of your particular thing. And we're working obviously on UWP when it's available. Nubisa is actually working on getting Node and UWP to work together, which will be fantastic for Windows developers to be able to also write Node apps. But yeah, absolutely. You download this app, you share it with your you share it with only a certain number of people, and yeah, you can really do some amazing stuff with it.
Yeah.
And not only that, but for humanitarian purposes also, you could think about this in disaster relief when there's no cell network available or anything like that. You still have connectivity, and making sure that you can still connect to your loved ones as well as the first responders themselves.
Now let me ask you this: does Thali use RX?
It does not right now. No, right now we are very focused on the very low level stuff, but yes, it is our intent at some point to get RX absolutely in there.
I can imagine with streams of data, flowing from device to device, there would be
absolutely, especially as we start to mature the framework. We think that it's that yes, it has a lot of possibility there. But I really do think that since our phones are server capable, we really do have a huge opportunity to change how we think about the internet, to change how we think about even the peer network, and change how we think about our devices. Because largely, who are you without your phone? Do you feel naked? Of course you do. So these things are becoming very, very personal to everybody, but now you've actually leveraged it even more for the Internet of Things, where it can control your house, control any number of things. So it's even a more personal device than it ever has been before.
I've heard that the difference between leaving your phone at home and leaving your wallet at home is that you'll turn around and go home if you forgot your phone.
This is very true, because now with all the payment systems and everything, and loyalty cards and so forth, you don't need
You can get through the day without the wallet.
Except for the fact that if a cop pulls you over and asks for your ID.
And you hand him your phone.
And you hand them your phone. That's not quite...
not cool yet.
Not cool yet, although maybe your insurance card will be on there.
Yeah, but, there you go. Now, what's the state of Thali as a project? What I want to do is I want to tell beginning and student developers, I always tell you guys, one of the best ways to learn is to get involved in a project. Is Thali one of these projects where a developer can come get involved and see what's going on with it, and then figure out how they can make some contributions?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as we state right here, it's an experimental platform because it is an idea that nobody has really done to this level before. So we have no idea how well it's going to go in the long run, but we've gotten some short successes. We've worked with some very big companies to make sure this happens. But long term, it's all open source. Everyone can go and contribute today. We have an open mailing list. Everything is here on the website in terms of how you can get involved, as well as just dealing in terms of the contribution guide, any number of things, as well as our stories of what's our roadmap look like.
Yeah,
we have all of that right here in terms of what we're trying to do. And we even cross off what we've already finished.
Excellent.
So it's all of those kinds of things. It's very, very it's very apparent in terms of what we're trying to do. Anyone can come in, dig in. We've got all these open issues. It's really kind of a fun project. It's also a very interesting project in the fact that when you're dealing with a mobile environment, you live and die by continuous integration. The idea that I can take these two devices, not only these two devices, but say 7 other Android devices and say 8 iOS devices, and will they continuously run the software that we put on there and spit out the same results time and time again? Because obviously when you're dealing with things that aren't core necessarily to the phone, but more more along the lines of the hardware itself, the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi, you need to make sure it's rock solid.
Right.
And so we partnered with Nubisa again to build this kind of it's a big shelf of nothing but phones all connected into this environment. So to really make sure that it is rock solid, so every time someone does a pull request, it goes through and makes sure all of our tests, not only just regular integration tests, but also our performance tests, making sure we're not really slow.
Yeah.
To do all of this sort of stuff. So absolutely, there are plenty of ways to get involved. The mailing list is also a great way, and our Twitter as well for people to get involved.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, I highly encourage you guys to do that. To go, what's the website here? Thaliproject.org?
Yep, thaliproject.org, yep.
And come up to speed on it and figure out how you can get involved. It is an exciting project, and whenever there's a nascent project like this, there's usually a lot of opportunity for you to, just even go write some tests, and help flesh out the test framework. I know that project organizers are usually dying to have people help them flesh out some tests.
Absolutely.
Matt, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about the Thali project.
All right, thank you.
And last week, talking to us about RX. That's great.
Yep.
So thank you very much, and thank you guys for joining us on CodeChat. We will see you next time.
Thank you.